Hello, everyone. My name is Angy Vasquez, and this is my summer 2023 internship experience with Churches United for Fair Housing, aka CUFF, a nonprofit organization. These are the topics I will be discussing. So, about CUFF, they are located in the Bushwick neighborhood. They address racial disparities, combat segregation, and promote affordable housing. Their advocacy focuses mostly on housing, but also on immigration, social, and economic justice. Their target audience is working class BIPOC communities, which is Black, Indigenous, people of color communities in Bushwick and New York City. The interview process was much more different than my classmates. I decided myself to contact the nonprofit as I used to work with them since I was 17. I used to be a part of their youth program called CUFFH Youth, and I proposed a CUFFH Youth identity project so they can acquire more new members and more youth because they tend to lack in that area, and they have been discussing that with me for a long time that they need more members. And in order to acquire more members, they need an identity. So I proposed a brand project as I am a designer and they know that. And I asked if I can present them the idea through Zoom. We met through Zoom, and during the Zoom call, I asked them questions like, can I participate in their workshops to get to know community members? I wanted to see their existing brand guidelines if they can give it to me and tell me what they didn't like, what they did like. I wanted to tell them my desired direction for Cuff Youth branding, and I requested permission to form a team with my classmates for this internship class, and especially since they're very talented. And they chose me because I had very high passion for this program, and they've known me for a long time. They trust me and they know I have design expertise, aka my degree in communications design. My responsibilities was I brand identity development, where I will form brand guidelines for Cuff Youth and also design a logo and also work on the messaging and the tone of Cuff Youth, especially in regards to their values and goals. I was also responsible for visual design and collateral production, meaning I wanted to create like materials, aka posters, banners, flyers, social media templates to pass on to the communication department for when I leave or for when my coworker leaves. And the third responsibility was that I was more like an art director and overseeing designers and providing guidance and delegating tasks. I was there for the brainstorming sessions with my coworker, and I also ensured workflow balance and that everything was done in a timely manner by deadline. The workplace culture was very casual but professional. I had meetings with my supervisor every Wednesday morning. I My workstation was at the City Tech Computer Lab after class, since I had a summer class as well. It was design team. And the attire had to be business casual. And my weekly schedule is placed on this presentation right here. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 4:30, and Fridays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So 5 hours per day for 5 days a week. This is the presentation I presented to Cuff, and it has the mood board, what type of direction I see for Cuff Youth branding, and the timeline, how I wanted to structure the time and tasks for this branding project, and what was more realistic and what they can look forward to. As my supervisors weren't from a creative field, so they don't know how to delegate the hours or know how designers work. So they gave me the creative freedom to structure those hours with my coworker. And yeah, these are the brand guidelines before. So the before is Cuff in general, their branding guidelines that they sent a document to me. And the after is what me and my coworker came up with. And it's in a video format. You can see it's very vibrant and enticing, and it reminds us of the mood board that we made. So those are the logos that we made too. That's the final slide. Okay. This is the expanded version of that video that you saw previously. So this is the whole branding guideline that my coworker and I made and agreed to for CUFFH Youth. So it resembles some of the elements from CUFFH in general. So we had to make sure that the branding was similar yet different, but also enticing and youthful and very Gen Z design trends. This is the social media templates that me and my coworker also worked on, and we also made a list of different types of Instagram layouts that the communications department can use. Um, we are also going to train them and teach them how to use these visual elements from the branding guideline through Canva, and they preferred that we use Canva in order for the transitioning process and handing them the file to be very easy, and they can do it themselves. Canva is very beginner friendly, especially for a department that doesn't know much about design. This will be great, and we can show them. For our final presentation, we'll be training them. This is the collaboration and teamwork slide. I was at a company lunch that they were so kind to provide for me, and that's the workstation that me and my coworker Safwan would work at after class. We would stay at the City Tech lab. So I was mostly in charge of leading presentations and representing our team. I was mostly contributing to the brand guidelines, so that was mostly me. And I also was in charge of making any final decision makings, especially if my coworker had an idea. I would be on top of that and be like, maybe, yes, no, and yeah. And my coworker staff one was in charge of the logo for the brand. He also developed the brand messaging since he's a genius at copywriting, which I have a weakness for. I'm I'm not the best at copywriting, but he is, and he knows that I'm very great at visual elements and composition. And he also was responsible for conducting research and providing inspiration for these visual elements. He was very great at articulating the reasons why we used these visual elements, which I had trouble with, but he was very great during presentations to explain it. But overall, what we did together was giving each other criticism and feedback, and we also helped each other out. If one person was lacking one area, the other person would take that task and help them finish it. And that's pretty much it, yeah. And we basically collaborated on the social media layout compositions. So that was basically both of us 50-50. So the role models, I would say, are the community organizers we would meet during workshops and info sessions. We learned a lot about their leadership like skills, especially when it comes to rallying communities and mobilizing resources for these communities and navigating complex social issues. They were very inspiring, and I hope to make a positive change with my designs, the same way that they're using the medium of public speaking to make a change. Hopefully, in my way of making a change, I can help CUFFH Youth bring in more members, and as it brings in more members, there can be a bigger change because they're such a unified group, and hopefully my branding can help with that. So a self-reflection is for sure me learning how to be an art director since I was appointed such a leadership role, and being on top of my coworker and helping them as well and giving guidance, and also organizing our time, as well as making sure everything is done by deadlines. So the first lesson is balancing my workflow and learning how to collaborate with my coworker. especially when it comes to differing opinions and finding compromise. We tend to use the phrase disagree and commit, meaning if we continue to disagree, we have to commit to one thing and keep going and continue with it in order to save time and continue this workflow. The second lesson is mostly leadership, so assigning roles, providing feedback, offering new ideas to overcome any challenges or any like creative blocks. And yeah, basically taking a lot of initiative for this job. The third important lesson that I've learned is educating and advocating for our designs. So we had to educate non creative stakeholders, which is the communication department, and our supervisors, since they don't have any previous knowledge of design. And we had to really advocate for our solutions and explain why our designs work, and whenever they would offer any ideas, we would have to disagree and say why those designs wouldn't work. So it was very interesting to see that and kind of give them knowledge on how design works and why we use it. The fourth and last lesson that I learned is attention to detail and consistency. I learned how to make my designs more cohesive across different mediums and platforms, which is necessary for a brand identity project. And yeah, that is my internship experience. I present my final presentation to them on Monday, and yeah, they are going to offer me a graphic design position soon. I'm still deciding whether or not to take it, and it was a pleasure working with them. It was a pleasure working with my coworker, who was very talented and who made this beautiful logo towards the end of this slide. Very fantastic. It looks similar to the original logo of CUFFH, but this is CUFFH Youth, so it had to be different and more powerful. It's very uplifting, and I love it. So thank you again for listening, and have a great day.